Is this working? Hey, we're going to have a Bible study about Christmas.
I am not making this video to rain on somebody's parade. I am making it as to reflect on what the biblical truth really is concerning the birth of the Messiah, Yeshua, known as Jesus Christ. In exploring this subject over many years, I have found many interesting facts. I am only using this text-to-speech engine due to wanting to put these facts in exactly as the limited research that I have done. Two important main facts come into play. Fact 1: the use of different calendars that the mainstream churches have used. The Julian calendar, implemented in 1946 BC by Julius Caesar, which is a whole 13 days later, introduced by Pope Gregory XIII, 82. The Gregorian calendar is the world's widest used civil calendar, and it is this calendar that Catholic Christians use to celebrate Christmas on December 25th. Technically speaking, Christmas in the Julian calendar still falls on December 25th, whereas it falls on January 7th according to the Gregorian calendar. These changes was done not for biblical reasons but for religious reasons, such as, the calendar was initially proposed to change the date of Easter so that it always falls near to the spring equinox. To put this in a sum-up form, the Church Fathers were anti-Semitic, and did not want to put the Messiah in a proper Jewish context of the biblical established holidays. This takes us to reason number 2, which is, what would be the real date of the birth of the Messiah? The real date of the Jewish Messiah would not be based on a Roman calendar, either Julian or Gregorian. It would be based on a Jewish calendar. In doing this, there would not really be any date on the Gregorian calendar that we use today to have the date be the same every year. Most biblical scholars put the birth at fall of some place between 4 to 6 BC. My personal study puts it at the 1st of Tishri at the Feast of Trumpets today, which is known as Yom Teruah, the day of shofar sounding, the Feast of Trumpets. Most of us know the feast as Rosh Hashanah 3 BC, which would be sometime in September to October. If you follow the Jewish calendar, you will be able to get the date. It should be closer than any Julian or Gregorian calendar. I have based my personal research on the New Testament and on the Magi, which was not the 3 kings as commonly taught and did not come to the child until later, about 2 years later. The sign that the wise men from Babylon were looking for was first told to their sect by Daniel, nearly 500 years earlier. Daniel had a will, or testament, which was to be carried out once a certain sign in the heavens was seen, which was never before seen in the night sky. It involved the constellation Bethulah, Virgo, the Lion, Leo, and the conjunction of the planets Jupiter, Venus, with the king star Regulus, and a roaming second star, which would only be seen at the time of the birth of Jesus. These are the facts that I clearly wanted to state.
Due to this being a tough subject, concerning the celebration of the holiday we know as Christmas, I thought it wise to use a feminine voice with a feminine animated actor to read this script. Like I have been saying, I am not trying to spoil anybody's celebration. Just trying to put things in a proper perspective. I am not wanting to go through a lot of religious history and point out the pagan influences in the development of the holiday. Mainly due to I would have a better chance of discussing superheroes. Superheroes do not play any part of the development of this holiday, so I will not go there either. My personal experience in this holiday has been mixed as what I should do or not to do. I will say after 63 years of age and 42 of them being a believer, I have come to this conclusion. I cannot call anybody a pagan for celebrating the holiday any way they want to. I hope they do it not like I was raised, which is Christmas is a drinking holiday. If I was going to put my religious spin on it, I would say, Christmas is an American holiday. I will always give my view on the real knowledge of the birthday of Yeshua as Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets. I will also work the holiday known as Hanukkah into this as a season of light, and put the Gospel of John, chapter 1 into play as an advent of light coming into the world, and just what that means. Although Jesus was not born on December 25th, he was conceived around that time. I believe was on the holiday of Hanukkah. The big mistake is that people want to make everything happen on one day. The time period of this took way longer and is a much bigger story of all the what and hows and whys. To sum it up, bring joy into the world and let the light shine as bright as you possibly can, and do it all year long. I have always felt it was better to say Merry Christmas than Happy Holidays, unless you say Happy Holidays sometime before Thanksgiving. I will proudly say Merry Christmas unless you are currently celebrating Hanukkah, which is from December 12th to December 20th of this 2017 year. I would say Happy Hanukkah. However, most of all the people I know will not be celebrating Hanukkah. They will be celebrating Christmas. So, Merry Christmas.
Testing 1, 2. Hello, this is AC here, and wanted to do a little different of a Bible study and use some of my animated actors and write them scripts so that it ensures that I say exactly what it is I want to say and that it comes out exactly how I wanted it to come out as. And so I'm using my own voice here in order to make it more personal. So the more personal step that I'm putting into this is just some of the things that I didn't script out to say, so I'm just saying them on the fly. So basically we have the Gregorian calendar, we also have the Julian calendar, and we have the Hebrew calendar or Jewish calendar. And so the majority of mistakes that we see is that people want to use the calendar that we use, which is the Gregorian calendar, and that they want the date to be the same day every year, which it's not going to be. And it would definitely, probably, in all likelihood, not be December the 25th for various reasons. And we would say, well, when would it be? Well, if you pick up a calendar and you see this holiday called Yom Teruah, which means the Feast of Trumpets. If you look at it in the Bible and you dig that out, so the first day of that would more likely, to my best belief, would be the birthday of Jesus. So you would look and you would find another name for this holiday is Rosh Hashanah. So I would say he was born 3 BC on Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Trumpets, and I have my various reasons. I've listed some of them, and it would be too long to list all this. Now there is another thing that I do not like to do, is to point out all of the pagan influences and so forth that you would find that we have inherited through Catholicized Christianity, mainstream Christianity. I mean, the majority of people that I have worshiped with and stuff have either been Pentecostals or even Baptist or just mainly Protestant people and Messianic people, but generally Protestant in that sense of the word. They have not followed Catholicism, but they do follow a lot of the doctrines that Catholicism has brought. And generally the holiday of Christmas is one of them. Although I've never really attended a Christmas mass, but they do have services on Christmas. A matter of fact is they have people they call Christmas and Easter Christians. That means they come to church only on Christmas and Easter. But at the end of the day, it boils down to this to me. As far as what it actually is, you cannot really pull out all the pagan stuff and put this standard on people, because basically they don't know who Baal is or Nimrod is or some of these other gods or even Mithra and so forth. The whole thing is you really can't even take the scriptures like in Jeremiah and say they're talking about a Christmas tree. Not if you really understand and you really dig into it. It is not the same thing. So at the end of the day is people put a lot of stuff on other people that maybe that they shouldn't. So the best thing that we could say, and the really true thing that we could say, Jesus was born And under my idea, I would say he was born on Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Trumpets, just however you'd want to look at it. So this is one of the Torah, Pentateuch, or the first 5 books of the Bible holidays that were described in Leviticus and Deuteronomy as one of the 7 feasts of the Lord, or Yahweh, or however you'd want to pronounce the Tetragrammaton. But anyways, so we would know that it was somewhere there. That would be more likely. So if you look on a calendar and it says something like the other name for Yom Teruah is Rosh Hashanah. So you find the first of Teshri, and that would be his birthday, whatever that is, because it doesn't always come out the same day on the Gregorian calendar, which we go by today. So anyways, my belief, it would have been his birthday would have been the first of Teshri, and then to translate that would have been about 3 BC. Now the majority of scholars will say 4 to 6, but I'm not particularly going with them in that manner. But we look at some of the stuff is, so even if he would not have been born on that day, he was probably conceived somewhere around Hanukkah. And that would be a holiday that would have been in place, and that you would have to pull the Book of Maccabees out and so forth, which the majority of Protestants don't have, to understand what the Hanukkah would be about. It would be about rededication of the temple and Judas Maccabees and the fight between them and the Greeks and so forth, and the actual miracle of the oil and the light and so forth. So it's a festival of life. It would have been there at the time of Yeshua, at his birth, any way that the majority of scholars or myself would have figured. So it would have been in play for, I don't know, about 5 to 10 years. So anyways, and I kind of believe that the New Testament alludes to it. So that would have been when he was conceived, and I think that this would be a great way to actually go into like the Gospel of John, where it talks about and light, that light has come into the world. What exactly is he talking about there? I mean, if you look at the play of that, we can see that it was just not a one-day thing. If you look at the ideal of the Magi, which is commonly taught as the 3 wise men, which the word 3 isn't in there and so forth, you would find that they would have been sort of left over from the Babylonian, in a part of the empire that was never conquered, the Parthian Empire, that the Romans had not conquered. So you have a lot of political stuff that is being mentioned there that just is not commonly taught. So the whole thing is, you can't wrap this all up in one day, which you have the majority of Christians that want to do. Yeah, he was born and all that. But at the end of the day, Christmas is an American holiday.